Good evening and welcome to the GameFace First Division MPNFL Footy Show. Thanks to OBrien's Real Estate. With over 9 locations across the Mornington Peninsula, O'Brien Real Estate will be able to achieve the best price for your sale or rental, backed by a myriad of experience. The fog on the peninsula made for some incredible conditions on the weekend. Tom Kelly from the Mount Eliza Footy Club joins us after his side broke Sorrento Hearts yet again, winning another tight one, virtually on the siren and after the siren. YCW survives a scare against Edie Asp. I've seen the best team in the competition this year in destroying Rosebud on the weekend. In my opinion anyway, opinions are like backsides. We've all got one, and it is an opinion-based industry. How many times have I said that, Cappy? And Red Hill and Frankston play out their very own Fog Bowl. Wayne Camp, good evening.
Dan,
welcome.
Yeah, great to be back.
And talking of being back, Chris Holcomb's back after 2 weeks in the sun in Queensland. You enjoyed, Holks?
I loved it, mate, and I got a lot of messages saying the ratings are down last week, so it's good to be back to lift you blokes up again.
Well, I heard the ratings were the best they've ever been with Cappy.
Incorrect.
He was wonderful last week.
Lots of compliments.
He carried the show, didn't you, last week, Cappy?
I did miss the big man, no, but no, it's good to have him back.
And our guest today has been a staff of the Mount Eliza Football Club. He's from a pretty good footy club in Warrigal. In fact, an excellent footy club, Warrigal, in the Gippsland Football League, which is a very strong country football league. And he also knows the Mackay boys very well as well. Of course, Harry is playing at Carlton. Ben is at North Melbourne, the Twins, and playing great footy. Tom Kelly, good to have you with us.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Now, you're originally from Warrigal, Gippsland League, good comp. You're now in the MPNFL. How would you compare the two comps, Tom?
The country footy, it's a very good standard down there. I think probably just the main difference is probably the age demographic. There's a lot of probably more older guys that have come from more experienced higher levels coming back to local footy, whereas I think MPNFL's so much youth and guys associated at other clubs. But overall, both really good competitions. And
your team's really young, aren't they? I mean, is that one of the reasons why you chose Mount Eliza? I mean, they're just such a young team, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. I think we've probably, outside of probably 3 or 4 older guys, the rest are probably under 25 and younger. So, it's been great. It's a you don't struggle for energy at a club like that when there's so many young guys, but it's been really good.
Nah, they did what Mount Eliza always did and just got the wallet out. That's why we went there. There you go, son. Have some cash. There you go. That'd be fantastic.
I had to beg to come through the door, boys.
Now, Steve Braddle's your coach. A lot of the boys have had him as a junior coach. What sort of coach is he?
From my experience, he's been fantastic. I think probably his biggest strength is just his ability to manage people. That's probably half the battle these days with footy at all levels. So, he's fantastic. Like he's got a great footy knowledge as well, but just the way he delegates and puts trust in the players and his other coaches, he's been really good. So I couldn't speak more highly of him.
He's very calm. Like when I went out and saw him, I think we were at the Frankston game, Bombers game at this quarter time, and game was in the balance. Not everything was going right for you guys, but he's very low key.
Yep.
Has he got that fiery side to him and gives a spray, or is he always sort of that sort of friendly sort of coach?
No, he's more often than not. We're pretty rare to see a spray.
Yeah.
You start getting a bit worried if you're going to get a spray from him.
Cabby style.
No.
But that's definitely one of his biggest strengths is just to step out of the moment and assess what's going on.
You mightn't have enjoyed Troy Shannon, who might have been a bit different to the previous coach. So.
He did tee off, but he was passionate and he was fantastic.
Fantastic coach, Troy. I'm not knocking him, but there's
No.
chalk and cheese between that. At the start of the year, I think most of us wouldn't have had Mount Eliza in contention, or let alone being in the top 5. And
I did hear that along the grapevine.
and it's been a fantastic effort right from the get go. I watched the very first game. You guys haven't missed a beat all year. You've won really close games. A draw with YC, which was a fantastic effort. They didn't drop. You haven't dropped. Have you dropped a close one? Oh, Red Hill, I think.
Red Hill. Yep.
So you've been under the pump every game and you keep producing. For a young team's been amazing. And what do you think is your strength in that department? Like, it's a bit of a never say die attitude.
It's a good question. I want to know that too.
Yeah, a little bit. Probably the youth, like Dan said, that probably adds a bit. You're a little bit naive at times, I think. That a lot of guys that is very competitive for spots and stuff like that. So I think that helps drive the group on game day. But yeah, other than that, I don't know. We probably just didn't have any sort of expectations after the year off, after COVID. And yeah, there's so much talent there as there is. So,
but youth only gets you so far, and especially if you challenge in the last quarter, we saw against Frankston Bombers that you would challenge a couple of times and sort of fought back. Bloke like Tenno, Gilly, Boothie, those blokes would be pretty important for a young group to sort of show that leadership.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, especially in the big moments, similar to on the weekend, a game against Sereno. Those guys all stood up and. Yeah, that's right. It can be a bit chaotic at times with all the young boys, so they've been really important.
Yeah, Tenno's a ripper. I didn't know how old Boothie was. He was telling me that. I couldn't believe it.
42.
Oh, he was 37, I think he is.
He's been around forever.
He still looks like
he was their best player on the weekend.
Yeah, he's playing like he's 27 at the moment.
Really?
I reckon he was a bit sore, but...
Shane Tennant's super important for you guys.
He missed the game against YCW and so did Bailey Breen.
They would have beaten him that day if Tenno had
Exactly
played him.
right.
Easy.
Anyway, I'll get to the serious stuff. But he is the general, and you need him down there. Or either end he can play, but he was in defence last week.
He was,
and obviously helped out and did a great job. So Boothie, he intrigues me. He just keeps going and going.
Yep.
Is his role is like a coach on the field, or is he really helping out the young guys? Is his main role out there, or and obviously he's got a bit of a job, but
Yep. No, he keeps to himself a fair bit, Bruder, but it's probably just more his actions. He leads the way on game day. So he started actually out of the team at the start of the year and had to earn his spot just like everyone else. So
isn't that fantastic?
But yeah, to his credit, he's handled that super well and hasn't left since. So he's been awesome. Yep.
And one of our favourites as well, one of my favourites, definitely Bailey Breen.
He's a beauty.
He had more tackles on the weekend than he had possessions. He had 15 tackles and 13 possessions.
Wow.
He is a tackling monster. He must actually inspire blokes around him to try and smash in and tackle as hard as they can.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He leads from the front. And every week we try and give him a chop out, but he just sort of refuses to get away from the action. So, no, he's a superstar and, leads from the front.
Now, Tom, you're in a competition where you're not having to travel too far. The furthest you have to travel was on the weekend to Sorrento. What, about a 40-minute bus trip? Would have been a good bus trip on the way back after another narrow victory by 2 points.
Yeah, it was a bit of fun, Dan. We were home nice and early, so
because when
only water's on the bus too.
That is right.
No way.
If that is true, that's
Footy's gone
wrong. They're drinking cups of tea on the way home.
No, like ACDC, they gave up the beer or the alcohol, and they'd go back on stage, and all they'd have, or back off stage, and all they would have would be cups of tea, copious amounts of tea, obviously cigarettes for Angus and the late great Malcolm Young, and cucumber sandwiches.
Yeah, maybe they just had water because they had to get to the snow the next day.
Bullshit. There would have been a few beers.
No, we had a few quiet ones. But
Very good win. Because you've come from a competition where there's a fair distance, isn't there, between Warragul, which would almost be the most northern team, to a team like Leongatha or Bairnsdale, which would be the most southern team. What's that, about 2 hours?
Yeah, we're travelling all directions down. Bairnsdale was our furthest trip from Warragul. It's about 2 hours, and some of the others probably an hour and a half. But there's a few bus trips there as well, which was good.
That would be fantastic, the bus trip time.
Yeah, you reckon?
Wasn't if you had a win, it would be unreal.
You do it once a year. I mean, this is the thing that a lot of the clubs in the MPNFL and other clubs, and I'm happy to put my head on the chopping block here. This is why they didn't want Narry, Warren and Cranbourne and Beaconsfield in the competition.
Because they said, crap clubs.
No. They're good clubs. They're dominating the Outer East.
No, they're not.
They're a bit too good for the Outer East, with the greatest respect to the Outer East. But, I mean, it's an hour's drive, Cappy, Hulks and Tom. It's not that much if you compare a league like Gippsland and a league like the Wimmera, which have got the Southern Mallee Giants, who are made up of teams from Hopeton and Beulah, which are obviously farming communities in the middle of the Mallee. 2.5 hours to go and play footy. So if you're playing at 9 o'clock in the under-19s or under-18s, to get to Ararat, which is the furthest town away for them, or Nil, which is 2 hours heading towards the South Australian border. It's a long way to go for a game of footy, Cappy.
Well, we've got a very close-knit competition. Everyone travels to away games, which helps the home clubs get good gates. And
But it's not that far. It's half an hour, 40 minutes.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I think it may have been a reason. I'm not sure. It's long ago, and that discussion's been done. And like I remember when Cranbourne were trying to get in, and
I still think it should have been allowed in. I mean, that's
it's another topic.
Yeah.
You're talking about buses now. Speaking of buses, it's good to see the Mount Eliza club actually looking after their players. The last time we had an away interleague trip, the league wouldn't even pike out for a bus for us. I nearly had to pay for it. No, that's why we lost. We all had to drive up there on our own.
I went on the Colac bus.
We had 3 people wait.
Not the Colac bus, the Hampton Football League bus. We went up to Murray, to Barooga and played the Murray League. And I called that for the Hampton League back in 1993.
Oh, thanks for that, Dan. History lesson, that's fantastic.
So is that why you lost?
That's why we lost.
Because you didn't have a bus.
Well, half the players were late because they got stuck in traffic.
Really?
Preparation's a key, Dan. Preparation's a key. We would have won if we had Tommy playing. But
Oh, definitely.
Now, let's talk about this thrilling victory and look at the highlights, thanks to Frankston Jeep. Sorrento suffered deja vu with a last-second loss to Mount Eliza.
We've got the clip too.
The second time this year, and they've broken Sorrento's hearts with this last-second victory. It was behind in the first half, Mount Eliza, thanks to Sorrento stars playing some of their best football for the season, and interim playing coach Lee Paholke returned for his first game as playing coach. It's kicked out of the middle by
game
the
over.
Mount Eliza team.
Game
Now,
over.
Michael Walker takes the mark at
Game
half
over.
back. And the kick is intercepted by Sam Gill. He could have held it up. Who gets around Walker with ease and kicks the goal with about 7 seconds to go. What were you thinking, Tom? What were you thinking?
I wasn't thinking a whole lot, to be honest. I was just watching it unfold. But, Gilly saved the day for us.
And there's a ball up and a secondary bounce as they almost got a clear from
yeah,
Glavin. And there's
taking
the
the
siren. I mean, that's unbelievable. Tough for Sorrento. I mean, was there relief at the end?
Yeah, definitely a lot of relief. The last quarter was just stoppage after stoppage, and they had the margin, and fortunately got on the right end of it.
Mitch Hallahan back in the Sorrento side. Cappy best for the home team with 2 goals, while the Paholke brothers combined for Sorrento's other 5 goals. Shane Tennant named best for Mount Eliza, 7 intercept marks. Tom Small also featured with 24 disposals, looking for another VFL call-up. Very good player, Tom Small. So is Shane Tennant. Cappy?
I was looking at a text that I received on the 10th of May, and it was a X-ray of Lee Paholke's arm.
Yes.
Smashed in half. That's 8 weeks ago. And he's played footy again now. That's amazing. I saw that.
I thought he was gone for the year.
Yes, and he's gone out and kicked 3 goals. Well done to Lee. And he'd be shattered that they didn't get over the line, obviously. The Hallahan boys together played pretty well. James is having a pretty good year. He's been the best players most weeks.
James?
Yes.
No.
The second
Yes,
half
he
has
has.
been very good.
No, he hasn't.
But the last month in particular,
watch him
since
closely.
they've returned from
All right.
lockdown, has been great.
If you ask James if he's having a good year, I reckon he'll say no. James is one of the best players in the comp when he's going and has been for the last 5 years. He's not near the best players in the
Do you
comp
think
at
his
the moment.
knee is still
I'm
in
not
his
saying he's best
Might
player in
be.
the comp.
Yeah.
I'm saying he's playing well.
Oh, he's not as good as a great Josh Butland, but
Jeez.
but he isn't having a great year, and it's good to see him get back in, especially with Mitch coming back in, and they would have pumped themselves up for this game flat out, and you could see their best players stood up and had a real
they
good
did.
crack at
They're
it.
not out of the running. They're on 16 points and their percentage is 98.77. But those 2 losses by less than a goal are going to cost them dearly. Rosebud, 20 points, suffered a big percentage plummeting on the weekend, dropping 12%. They're 96.86. And Dramana, 20 points, 102.79.
Sereno's run. Bomb Beach, Dramana, Bombers, YC, next 4 weeks.
Yeah, tough. Tough.
Yeah, that's tough.
But if they can get their players back and they get more football into
What
Mitch
players?
Hallahan, who's missed a bit, and Lee Paholke, who knows with them?
Their best players are playing at the moment.
They've got a few injuries.
Name them.
Steinhardt.
Yeah. That's it. That's
Callahan.
all you've got. That's it.
There's a
Their
few
best
others.
players are playing at the moment.
Not all their best players.
Oh, okay, Dan.
What did you think of Sorrento on the weekend, Tom?
We knew what we were going to get. They had a big day down there, their Ladies' Day and Past Players' Day, we heard. So,
Ooh. Did a few of them come back on the bus with you? Or?
no, definitely not. But no, they were really strong in the contest, and just like they were when we played them the first time, and from start to finish, it was no breathing room for sure.
Tom Kelly, one of the stars, new recruits for Mount Eliza this year, our guest on the First Division Footy Show for Growth Syndicates Australia. Now, YCW Wayne Cap survived a scare from Edithvale Aspendale. They're breathing a sigh of relief as you look at the highlights thanks to Frankston Jeep. The Eagles led for most of the first half and were up by 16 at half time with 3 first-half goals to Michael Bussey, who found some form. YCW were missing some key performers on the weekend with Luke Painter and Blake Mullane out. And in regard to our injuries for Anytime Fitness, Mullane's gone for between 4 to 6 weeks. Painter's out for a while as well. So Blake Mullane is a massive, massive loss. A huge loss as we see an opportunity here for YCW to kick a goal, and they do kick a goal. Their second half was very good as they kicked 4 goals and the Eagles could only get 1 behind. And they're still 1 game away from Pines in the battle to avoid relegation. For YCW, gentlemen, Rowan Steele named their best with a 3-goal performance. He's been pretty consistent all year. Luca Goonan continues his great run of form since his return from the VFL. For EDS, they certainly look a better team with an in-form Michael Bussey, finished with 4 goals, and Charlie Martello kicked 2, and Jackson Stewart also featured. So a 9-point win, but Cappy wasn't looking good at halftime.
There goes the league.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't a great day, really. The YCW played pretty poor in the first half, but EDS were great. So I said to you last week, Dan, Bussey plays well against YC every time.
He does.
And
why is that, you think? He's very good at building himself up for the big games.
No, you just have those teams.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah,
I
he
don't
just
know if
loves
you've
it.
had this before, but you just have some teams you play well against. Oh, you probably haven't played for a long, consistent period of time.
Yet, but,
Yeah.
yep.
But you do. You have sides that you play well against, and some sides you just go, oh, I'm going to struggle today.
Yeah. So, I was watching highlights and watched a fair bit of that game, and Bussey was, taking great grabs and kicking goals. He was in the ruck doing it. He was working his arse off. Yeah,
like
just about.
Low.
But unfortunately for EDS, they couldn't get over the line. It would have been a real good one for them to pinch and would have been an important one. YC were really down and didn't play very well by any. I'm sure they're not happy. But Luca Goonan continues his great form for the season. Kyle Hutchison racked up 35 disposals, the old fella.
Great work.
So,
he's going all right. His last
it's his
couple of
birthday
months
today,
been...
too.
Oh, happy birthday,
Yeah,
Hutcho.
so,
How old is he today?
I'd be 32
30,
or something.
yeah,
31. 31. He's getting better with age. He's like a red wine.
Fine wine.
Yeah,
He'll let us know on the Facebook page.
Yeah, so,
His last couple of months have been really good.
he's played well,
Yeah.
but he thrives in those conditions where, without Mullane and a couple of other guys out, he stood up and
What's he done, Mullane?
he's got a sore knee. He'll be back in a couple, not 4 to 6.
Well, they're saying 4 to 6.
Yeah,
That's
wow.
what I was
Sound
told.
good, Cabby?
No, I'm
See you
telling you.
later, league medal. That's it.
No,
It's
don't
open.
get
For
your money
Anytime
on it.
Fitness,
It's open the
Matt
door.
Trebek, hand 2 to 3 weeks. Brenton Lambert, calf test. BJ Credlin, shoulder test, who didn't play on the weekend. And Luke Painter, quad test.
So hopefully Painter's back next week. We've got a
We?
they.
Thank you, Cappy.
Yeah,
We know what it means.
but they've had some good kids come up and with Steele, and Steele's just going from strength to strength for a first-year player. It's an amazing effort.
terrific,
Yeah,
hasn't he?
every game he's kicked a mountain of goals, and he's really difficult to play on. Jackson Stewart for EDS has been super for a young fella. Every time he's played, he's had a heap of touches and continues to be in the best players. And Mark Mullins was in the best as well.
He's having a really good year.
He's been very good down back, hasn't he?
You
For an undersized fullback.
You guys are so soft on YC. Like, they've been sloppy the last 3 weeks.
2.
3 weeks.
They
Was it
3 weeks ago they
Who they
gave
beat?
Man Eliza a touch-up.
Yeah, they beat Mount Eliza comfortably. Well beaten by Bombers. They found a way. I mean, look, they weren't great, but they found a way. And these are the sort of games mid-season where you find a way to win. If you can still win, you still win. You get the same number of points for a team like Bomb Beach, who've thrashed Rosebud on the weekend by 13 goals. They still get 4 points like YCW does.
You look at that game, EDS are playing a final every week. They're up for it.
Yeah.
YC, yeah, sure, they're having a bit of a flat spot at the moment, but they got the win, and that's...
Give me a spell, mate. You're playing bottom of the ladder and you're on top and you flag favourites and you've scraped in over the line and you're still trying to pat them on the back.
Not
and say how
flag
good they are.
favourites compared to Dan. Dan's telling me it's
Come
Bomb
on.
Beach.
They're not flag favourites for mine.
No, I'm talking to Cappy with.
Now, EDS's injury concerns for Anytime Fitness. Carroll, 3 weeks, Francis season. Harley Dale, the brother of Bailey, who's having a great year for the Dogs, out for the season. Shannon, 3 weeks. And Sam Monahan has been very good this year. Is indefinite at this stage. And certainly EDS need him, and they'll need him next week. Not this week, but next week when they play Pines, which might be the battle to avoid relegation, gentlemen. They've got a 4% better percentage than Pines at the moment.
Can I ask? Yeah, that's fantastic.
Anything you like, Hogs?
I just want to ask, Tom, that you played YC. Their backline sets up a lot different than other sides, and it looked like that was the only section of the ground that you guys were struggling in when you played the YC game.
Yep.
Was it different kicking the ball into Wasseen? Did you spend some time on that?
Yeah, the second time when they beat us a few weeks ago, obviously it was a fair breeze that day to one end. So
I told you.
Well, that just made us. We structured up a little bit differently, probably to how we did the first time. But yeah, their back line is rock solid, and they played together for a fair while. So yeah, they got the better of us that day for sure.
They just know where each other is. I mean, they did allow 14 goals through against the Bombers, but I think, Cavi, that had a lot to do, didn't it, with the Bombers forward line, their quartet there firing for the first time together.
Well, we say that, but last week they played without Byron, they played without Credlin. So two of their real experienced, two of the best defenders going around, not available. Really gives the other guys like Luke Black and those other guys who have now played like 20 or 30 games time to, rule the back line and get amongst it themselves without those experienced guys there. And they've been coached by those older guys, and they know the systems, and they're playing pretty good footy.
Do you think if it wasn't Eddie Asp, greatest respect to Eddie Asp, who, of course, only scored a behind in the third quarter, a team that plays 4 quarters like a Bombers, and because they were missing so many players last week, YCW, they might have gone down?
Oh, who knows? I don't know. I reckon you're taking a bit away from Eddie Asp there.
Eddie Asp played well, correct.
Yeah, Eddie Asp have been playing good footy for the last few weeks, and
yes.
they'd be disappointed they didn't get the points. There's no teams that are walkovers anymore. Like Eddie Asp and Pines, who were playing poorly at the start of the year, I'm sure by their own admission, are now playing so much better.
Well, Paddy Swain said, in regard to Pines, they're pushing teams. They just don't have enough depth, and they've got so many of their senior players. We'll get to them for Anytime Fitness shortly regarding their injury list. But Red Hill and Bombers,
I actually like Edithvale to get off the bottom. I reckon that
they compete.
Yeah, I reckon their turnaround of the season was when they played this Clowns mob the first time.
Yeah, they kicked a few goals in a row, didn't they, to put a bit of pressure on them.
Yeah, and they said that they were pretty half time. They were right there with them. I'm comfortable with their run home that they should get off the bottom.
All right, we'll talk about that shortly. Red Hill and Bombers complete the Fog Bowl. It was an amazing day after multiple breaks. Tom, I don't know whether you've seen this, but at the moment, looking at conditions here, you wouldn't have thought there was a fog because there's blue sky up at the mountain at Red Hill, but the under-19s only played 3 quarters. Oy. Look at the fog now. This is later in the day. The reserves didn't get on, so 2 points to 2 teams firmly ensconced in the top 5. And then the seniors was called off at halftime. They came back and they finished the game. You can see all the fog in the background there as Red Hill have a snap-at goal, one of their rare goals of the day.
Oh, nice.
It wasn't a good day for them. Frankston were fantastic in the second half, kicking 7 goals to 1. They won 91-19. Off limited game time, Sam Fox and Alex Harnett had 34 touches each, and they're both averaging over 30 for the year as they fed off Harry Price, 48 hitouts. Also, Khan Heratuku kicked 4 goals, and Jared Grant kicked 3. So Red Hill just battling a bit at the moment, and their injury list has been a concern for Anytime Fitness for a while, Cappy, and they've just been unlucky in that they just can't get their best players out there. Harry Wimp-Hope, though, head knock available. Michael Mocker, head knock, should be available. James Fletcher, stress fracture in the foot, probably gone for the year, 4 weeks at least. Liam Harris, test. The Marcazani boys were injured on the weekend, TBC, and Connor Eardley, TBC as well. Some good players in that lot.
They've had a horror run, Red Hill. Kano Tuku is hitting his straps the last few weeks and playing some great footy.
He is.
Imagine you're kicking into the forward line and seeing that big bloke standing there, and he's taken a heap of... He took 10 marks, 4 goals. Most important player on the ground without a doubt. And a big imposing figure like that is really handy for the Bombers. Harnett is number 1 in the competition with clearances.
Yes.
7.7 he's averaging a game, which is outstanding. It's amazing.
He is.
And, so him with Fox and, they've got your love child Pryor is a great midfield, and they're working really well lately and really in good form at the moment.
You played them a few weeks ago, Tom, and Jared Grant almost stole the show, didn't he? I mean, they were terrible in the first half.
Mount Eliza beat them.
All of a sudden, he found a way in the second half. He was impossible to stop when he got going.
He was, yeah. No, he's a very hard matchup for us, and they were really good that day. And we just got on the right side of the scoreboard.
Correct.
Just on that too, Bombers hitouts were 68-18 for the day.
Yeah.
68.
It's their strength, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and when you got Fox and also Harnett able to
well, it's
shark.
probably-
A good
Sutton
ruckman
when
combined
fit.
with some good midfielders
Yes.
is a lethal combination.
Correct.
And
Yeah, I don't know if there's too many pieces of the puzzle missing. I mean, the back line, Amalfi's back now. Hopefully he gets a bit fitter before finals time. Drakey's been doing a good job in the back line. Their midfield is good. They just look like they're lethargic at times, but when they're on, they're on.
Pickus gets a run with roll most weeks, doesn't he?
Pickus does get a run with roll at times. So they got
Peter
that
Piper.
Yeah, they got that area
XYC
covered as well.
boy.
Oh,
That's
piss
right.
off. So yeah, look, they're going really well. Red Hill, they're just crawling to the line. I don't think looking at their run.
Red Hill have used 49 players.
Yeah, well, that happens sometimes, and they've got depth because they're about 19s for the best in second division, and their twos are always great. So that's no real big. But look, their run home, it wouldn't surprise me if there's like a three-way tie and it comes down to percentage for relegation.
They've got a huge game this week. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Well, the percentage, they're on 12 points, 71.8. Pines, 8 points, 55.16. And EDS on 4 with a percentage of 60.9.
And they all play each other in the next 4
Yes,
weeks.
that's right. I still think it'll come down to the... Well, Pines play Red Hill, as you mentioned, on the weekend, and then the Pines EDS game.
Yeah, well, Edie are behind on points, so they
are.
desperately need
Just
to win
need
both
find
those
a way.
games. Yeah.
But their percentage is better than Pines. Now, around
You would say that Red Hill would probably be the standout side out of those three, though, because you played them early when they were sort of up and about.
Yeah,
They
we
And
haven't
really,
played.
They really run you hard.
Yeah, we haven't played Pines yet either, so
Yeah.
Haven't you?
can't really comment on
You
that.
played
probably.
EDS?
Yeah.
Played EDS and won by a point. We got
That's
them this
right,
week, so-
yes.
Yeah, I can't
That's
say
right.
much at
11,
all.
What are you
21,
blokes doing?
87
You
to
just, like,
13, 8,
reel 'em in.
86.
You love a close
Well,
game.
you probably should have won by more. With the greatest respect to EDS, it was a great performance from them, but you had 32 scoring shots.
Yeah. Obviously, it's a fairly small ground there, so I think both teams kicked a lot of points. But yeah, we'll wait and see when we play Pines later in the year as well.
It'll be a good game, I think, this week. Now, Dramana waltzed into Eric Bell Reserve as we go around the grounds, and Tom Harvey, our esteemed producer, has put this one together because he's a Mad Keen Dramana fan, and we'll back out with another win over
Going down
Pines.
this week, Dave, mate.
The Pythons still yet to beat them since the Tigers entered Division 1. It was an even match for much of the day. Dramana struggling to break the game, though, until the second half, with the margin remaining less than 20 points until the final break, with a young Python squad, and they are very young, running out of legs, a 6-goal-to-1 term, resulting in a 50-point victory. Cole Jacobson kicked 2 goals for the Pines, best on ground performance for them. Nathan Saligo and Ethan Johnson kicked 3 goals each for Dramana, and Matt Lee was named their best, 18-13, 1-2-1 to 11-5, 71. Listen to this Pines injury list for Anytime Fitness. Liam Boyd, stress fracture and femur gone for the season. John O'Hayden, he's finally walking and jogging with his knee but won't play this year. Troy Jacobson, ankle test. Waterston, knee season. Kylie, knee season. McDonald, shoulder season. Keep going, Hulks. Jack Fisher, shoulder test. Ben Thomas, calf test. And Brendan Barford, shoulder test. That is a massive injury list, Cappy, to some very experienced and good players.
They must have played a heap of players too.
They have.
It's really hard to battle that sort of injury list, and they're doing a great job, keeping going. The juniors are getting a game, and a lot of kids are getting experience, but they need to be, with an injury list like that, it's really hard to compete. And Dramana are playing some good footy at the moment. I had a look at the comp stats for possessions because
It's amazing,
Dramana
isn't it?
are, real high possession team.
They are.
So we've got Billy Quigley who ranked number 1 in the competition. Sam Gertz ranked number 2 in the competition for stats. Dean Waugh ranked number 6. And Billy Gertz ranked number 8.
Ruckman is ranked 8
8,
for disposals
So
in the competition.
four of the top
Can you believe
8
it?
possession winners in the competition come from the one team. So that in a stat in itself is quite incredible. Saying that they're sitting 5th, they haven't set the world on fire. They're the reigning premiers, but I feel like they're coming into a bit of form.
Well, they are 3-1 in their last 4 games.
That's
They
right.
are
Well, there you go.
coming
Pretty good
hard.
since the COVID lockdown.
Yeah,
they're
no,
a
they're
lot better.
coming. But a bit Quigley was quiet on the weekend. He only had 37, so that was a bit disappointing. Every week, Sam and Billy Gertz, he's putting together a phenomenal season. And now that Malane's out of the running for the league BNF, he's probably going to challenge Harnett for that billing.
Was Malone out?
Because he's done his knee.
Yeah.
All right, you got him out for 6 weeks, haven't you?
4 to 6, I was told.
Yeah,
I'm just
okay.
going by what the president said. Hello, Andrew Schneider. Now, Tom, your team isn't a high possession team individually, is it? I mean, collectively, everyone just seems to do their job. You might have someone get 19, someone get 20. We talked about Bailey Breen having more tackles than possessions. Why is that, you think? Everyone just seems to play a role, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just we're just so even across the board. Probably that youth, as you mentioned. But yeah, and the way we play as well. I guess we don't rely too heavily on any individual, and yeah, every guy has their own good day here and there. But yeah, we try and share the load.
Nelms always pops up for his.
Oh, very good player.
We like Nelms, don't we?
In that list of stats that I was looking at, Dan, there's not one Mount Eliza guy in there.
No, there won't be.
Because they share the position. Not one YCW guy in there. Similar sort of team. I'm just saying it's different. You've got high possession teams like the Bombers, with Fox, Harnett, they're in there. All the Dramana boys.
Bomb Beach, I think there's
five
of them in the top 10.
They're ridiculously.
I mean, we've got 13 in the top 10 at the moment.
Yeah, correct. I mean, you look at Armitage, 26.5. We'll get to them in a second. As a team after their performance on the weekend. Gent, 26.4 possessions a game. Gilbert, who was a bit quiet on the weekend, 25.5. Bailey, 24.3. Milne, who's playing for Sandringham at the moment, Stephen Milne's son Tyson, 23. McDonald, 22. And Casey, 22, who was excellent on the weekend. Now, talking of which, Rosebud suffered potentially their most disappointing loss for some time at the hands of Bond Beach, and their percentage suffered 12% drop. And they stamped some authority, certainly Bomb Beach, on the league. Best team I've seen this year. Certainly deserved to be premiership favourites with a massive win by 79 points. Bond Beach kicked the first 5 goals of the match and looked just a class above all match. They went inside 55 times, Cappy, for 5 goals, if you don't mind, umpire.
Yeah, they're great.
They led by 10 goals at three-quarter time. There was relentless pressure, great use of the footy, and they stalled many of Rosebud's attempts to attack. Joe Fisher, magnificent for the Sharks. He rucked and kicked 5 goals. He was man of the match, no doubt about that, and 27 possessions. Trent Dennis-Lane kicked 5 as well to increase his lead in the goal kicking. John Nance Cowan, one of the leading lights for a disappointing day for Rosebud, kicked 2 goals. He's kicked 20 goals for the season. If Armitage doesn't get you, Gilbert will get you. If he doesn't get you, Verma will get you. McDonald. Gent. Gil Renouf kicked, I think, the goal of the season. Their defence is outstanding. McLean, Waterston, Douglas, they do the job. And there's no Tom Hogan. There was no Lachlan Stenning. They had 43 points on Friday night, so Stamanis has to come out and Osland has to come in, the first gamer, and he looked like he belongs as well, along with Jason Carter, another young player. They're a very, very good side, Bomb Beach.
Wow.
Yeah, he's sitting here just festering away. He's wriggling in his chair.
You can't speak highly of Bomb Beach. They're a great team. They've got all these players. It's all got to come together at the right time for them, and they're putting together a great season. Jackson Casey, great to see him have a big game on the weekend and get the best player. I'm a big rap for Jackson. He's worked hard with that club for years, and I think he's must be pushing up to 300 games. I'm not sure.
He was outstanding at halfback. He stopped everything.
He's a belter.
And he's found a spot there. That's really important. And have him use. He's a great ball user, so that's really important.
I tell you who's been good, Cappy, the Hewlett brothers too. I mean, Owen came back 3 weeks ago. He kicked 5 in his return against Red Hill. And Liam's been very handy as a backup ruckman and forward too. And
they've got a handy, the McDonald just keeps racking up possessions. Gent picks up 32. As you said, I had that same stat. I looked at that. There was 8 guys who averaged 20-plus possessions in that team. That's incredible. So, they're flying. No injuries to speak of. I think that right, Dan? No?
Well, Stenning's got a calf injury for any time fitness, and Hogan's probably a week or 2 away. But other than that, they're almost
you look at the injury list of most other clubs. That's they're in really good shape.
I mean, as we said, Holks, they were 1 point over and they had to make a change. Stamanis had to come out and he's been playing footy at VFL level. I mean, there's a good player that comes out and they replace him with a kid Osland who looked pretty good. And I mentioned Carter as well. I mean,
that's what the point system's for, mate.
I mean, they've been on top in the reserves. They got beaten narrowly in the weekend. Your team, Tom, gone back on top. Shane McDonald told myself and Paul Wilson before the game that there are players missing out, playing reserves around 16. They haven't had that for a long, long time. The reserves won 1 game 2 years ago. The under-19s are going well. The club is just flying.
Yeah, well, that's great for them, and hopefully it can continue on. But the most important thing is injuries, and they're going well at the moment. Their list is fit, and they're not they're not doing anything wrong, so can't go wrong. Just good with on the Rosebud side of things. See the Nan Scowen boys both had good games. Reed had a heap of possessions again after. They're consistent young guys who keep putting in week
Cummings
after week.
boys, I thought battled manfully as well on the ruck.
Yeah, Baker also kicked a couple of goals, did a good job.
And the defence, I mean, it was tough for McRae and Kennedy Hulks, but they did a good job down there.
Yeah. Well, you're going against the premiership favourites. Why wouldn't it be hard? A tough job.
I don't think that.
Yeah, and it must hurt Cappy too because Joe Fish is just tearing the competition apart at the moment. 27 touches and 5 goals, and we all know how Cappy feels about Joe Fisher.
I like Joe. What are you
you don't
talking
rate him. Just admit it.
No.
Is the only caveat, guys, we need to put on Bomb Beach is they're yet to play Mount Eliza or YCW.
That's right.
Here we go.
That is a good point, Dan. Very good point. They haven't played 2 of the top 4 teams yet.
I can only go on what I've seen. The ball movement was as good as anything I've seen at local footy level.
Local, as good as you've seen.
As good as I've seen. I thought it was fantastic.
Some massive calls being made
tonight. I just thought they were magnificent. I mean, you haven't played them yet, Tom. No doubt you can't wait to play against one of the better teams in the comp.
Yeah, we've definitely been from the outside watching them very closely and heard some very good things.
Have you done much tape work with them or not? Have you had a look at them?
With Bomb Beach?
Yeah.
No.
Why would you?
No, I haven't done it yet.
Oh, actually, no, we have shown a few of their clips and what they do well. Yeah. Can always learn off the opposition. So
remember Bombers knocked them off.
Hey?
Bombers knocked them off.
Oh, did they?
Narrowly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And Dramana knocked them off.
Yeah, so there's 2 top teams but they haven't beaten.
So
has Bomb Beach beaten anyone in the 5?
Well, they've beaten.
He's had this. He's
beat Rosebud, who were in the 5 on the weekend before dropping out.
He's talking Dramana. They just snuck over the line against Dramana.
We'll still beat them.
Oh, okay.
3 points.
You got that.
I mean, you could say that about Mount Eliza, but they're still winning. As I said earlier, I mean, Bomb Beach won by 79 points, and their win was worth the same number of points as Mount Eliza's win over Sorrento, 4 points.
Right, can I say...
Doesn't matter how you get it, as long as you get it, isn't that right, Tom?
Can I say this to our guest, and he would know, our competition is so even anyone can beat anyone on any day.
Correct.
And you would know that because you guys are smashing them up there, but you wouldn't go into a game feeling that you were comfortable, knowing that you're going to go out and smash your side this week.
No, not at all. No.
Have you played in a competition like that before?
No, well, I've only played in one other one, to be honest. No, it's a credit to the competition and all the clubs that it is so strong. And exactly right. Every week's a good spectacle and a good contest.
Was that a tight comp? Gippsland, or were there some teams that were better than others from year to year?
Yeah, at stages, it probably the bottom 2 or 3 dropped out a little bit, but the top 5 was always really competitive and really strong. Yep.
Well, let's look at the most valuable team as we have our guest. What are you laughing at, Holtz? So we have our guest here, Tom Kelly for Great Syndicates Australia, as we go for our most valuable team. What's rubbish?
Oh, his side. He's got 2 blokes in there and play on the weekend.
Yeah, that's all right. They deserve it. They need it.
For Jeff Wignall forward, and of course they've been serving the Peninsula since 1979 with branches in Hastings, Frankston and Mornington. Away you go, Mr. Cap. It's your time to shine again.
Okay, I've had a bit of help this week because I got a bit busy, but I've overseen it. So we've got Matty Douglas again in the back line, Jackson McRae and Jackson Casey. I'm going to put him in the back pocket.
I agree with those 3.
Geez, that's wrong. I'm
those
ecstatic.
3.
We've got BJ Credlin, one of the most outstanding back flankers in the competition. He's had a big week.
He didn't play.
He didn't play, but he presented 3 jumpers to the Richmond boys who were playing their first games in the VFL. So he's obviously held. I saw
Lockie Strew play against Collingwood. Played really well.
Did play really well. Yeah. Shane Tennant at centre half back. Nick Carlin. Those guys have had great seasons. Sam Gilbert on a wing.
He was rubbish on the weekend.
I've got Braden Nelms on a wing. He had 28 possessions. Who? Gilbert?
Gilbert didn't.
He was solid.
Yes, he did.
No, he was solid. He wasn't brilliant. I mean, other players stepped up. He doesn't need to be brilliant.
I'm slotting in Billy Gertz in the ruck, Sam Fox and Alex Harnett. They're my ruck division, which isn't too bad. And Blake Mullane.
Blake Mullane
might
play.
drop out the next few weeks. But it is the rolling team of the week.
Oh, whatever.
I mean, someone else has to come in. I mean, if those players have done enough, they probably stay in. But
that's it.
The next couple of weeks, you would think. Yeah, I know, Cabby, but in the next couple of weeks, you think they may drop out. If Credlin doesn't play, he probably will be back. If Blake Mullane, well, he won't play in the next 4 weeks, so he may drop out. But that's up to you, Cabby.
That's going to hurt him.
Okay, Billy Quigley.
Yes.
Joe Fisher One of my favourites is in.
Finally.
5 goals. Great
Finally.
performance, Joe.
Well done,
And
Joey.
Joe, if you're watching this, I love you, mate. Don't listen to this rubbish this bloke speak. Miles Pahocki, he's having a great season. His second half of the year's been brilliant. I've got Jainan Scowen, Kana Tuku and Rowan Steele. Rowan Steele, one of the best first year. If there was a Rising Star award, he'd have to win it.
Kicked over 20 goals.
Yeah, it's been fantastic.
Is Rowan taking Shane McDonald's spot? He had 30 touches and kicked 2 on the weekend. Oh, okay. Cool.
He's a bit unlucky, but then again, you can get on the Facebook page.
He doesn't have a Stonecats jump.
As I said, there was some help from the back, the guys behind the desk here about this. Shane McDonald, I apologise. Shannon Gladman, Kyle Jacobson, Tom Kelly, and Ryan Marks Logan are in the team.
Is that the first time you've been in the team?
Oh, Tommy's in.
I wouldn't know, Dan. Don't look at that.
No, you've been in before.
That is fantastic.
Probably, a little bit out of line there.
Shane Tennant, is he better at centre half back or centre half forward?
No, probably centre half back is his spot, but yeah, he may well play forward again. We're not too sure.
If you haven't watched the show much this year, you're pretty much guaranteed a spot on Cappy's side if you come in. So you've done well.
Thanks, Cappy.
No worries, mate.
Last time.
No, I've been a rep. No, you've been in before, mate.
You've had a very good year, Tom. Great to have you in the competition. Tom Kelly, our guest for Great
Must be
Syndicate
due for
Australia.
another holiday, mate. All right.
Now, Rosebud Country Club Reload, a brand new sponsor, and they've been fantastic. As I say, I was down there on last Thursday. Danny, the general manager, showed me around 2 magnificent courses down there. They've got some big events coming up, and we look forward to getting down there throughout the summer. Now, back to round 4 this year for Mount Eliza for our Rosebud Country Club Reload. Tom, it was the game against Sorrento at home, your home venue. A bit of deja vu. Another win with the last kick of the game.
They won't like you showing this, Dan.
No, take us through it from the ground. There was a smother, wasn't there?
Yep. Bailey, he just got hold of the ball.
Bailey Breen,
To his credit, stayed.
Sam Gill, hard on the boundary. Handball over the top.
Aiden Smith, that is. Yep.
Aiden Smith, who, before he'd cut his hair, kicks long to full forward, and Sean Watson takes the mark.
Correct, yep.
Who's not in the senior team at the moment.
No, he's not, but he's playing extremely well, in the development side. And, he's a really important part of our team, Watto. He may well be back.
That was in the dying stages of the game. What did you think then? You had it won, or you still didn't know how long was left?
We knew there wasn't long, but...
Does a runner come out and tell you if there's not long? I mean, I suppose he doesn't know either.
Yeah.
He might look at the timekeeper's box, mightn't he?
Yeah, usually.
As they go forward again. And
That's
I think
amazing to have 2 games like that.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
In hindsight, it is for sure.
Yeah.
Goals inside the last 20 seconds.
Yeah, they're nearly identical. The ball goes back in the middle, a couple of seconds of play, and then it's up and running.
Yeah, incredible. Mitch Halloran, of course, getting the kick smothered, and then they missed out again on the weekend.
Both times, a couple of turnovers by Sorrento at vital times. And
if those two go the other way and Sorrento hold on, Sorrento are actually in front of Mount Eliza by 2 points.
Wow, there you go.
Is that right?
That is correct, Dan. I've done my research.
He's still on holidays.
I've done a lot of research, and that's official. How's that for a stat?
Well, it's going to cost them dearly, I think.
We think at the moment Mount Eliza are going extremely well, which they are. This isn't a slag. And we think that Sorrento are really, really struggling and haven't had any players. But those two and the whole thing flips around on its head.
Well, in a football season, no matter the level, whether it be local level or elite level, you just got to win the close games.
Oh, there's so many 8-point games out there, Dan, isn't there?
And so many close games too.
Oh, isn't there? It's
Don't amazing. Be a smart aleck, Mr. Holcomb. Thank you very much. Now, before we go through our tips for the Telstra Business Technology Centre of Melbourne South, I was there today, and thanks to Gareth White for showing us around as part of our sponsor videos coming up very soon on GameFace. It also is the TAC round, AFL Victoria bringing this out, and as you can see, they're promoting this hard in regard to making sure that people drive safely, especially young people. We've seen too many young people lose their lives way too early. Brett Ratton, the St Kilda coach, former Carlton coach and Carlton star, has been heavily involved in this promotion after the tragic death of his son Cooper in a car accident some 6 years ago back in 2015. And again, we wish the Ratton family all the best and all other families who've suffered similar tragedies. So make sure you get behind this particular promotion. A reminder, we all have someone to drive safely forward as the TAC round this week throughout AFL Victoria. And as I say, our tips for Telstra Business and Technology Centre of Melbourne South. The tipsters were almost unanimous last week with Cappy missing out in the Bombers, while Holtz was given a penalty tip for being away.
I would have been definitely 5 out of 5.
Oh, well, we're giving you a penalty tip because you're away and because you're Chris Holcomb and you shaved your beard off.
Yeah, good.
Well,
good evening, Jeanette.
that's tall poppy syndrome, isn't it, in Australia these days?
Let's go through our
You're a
tips.
tall poppy.
Just bring your heroes down.
Dramana hosting YCW. Big game. Dramana always play their home ground pretty well. And YC, I know, did struggle there, Cappy. Sorry to bring up the war in 2019 down there, didn't you?
No, we won convincingly.
Did you?
Yeah, 6 goals, I think.
Oh, well, that shows you how much I know.
YC are undefeated down there.
Right.
I think since Dramana brought this up, Tom, is that right? Dramana haven't knocked off YC and seemed to be a little bit of a bogey team for Dramana, but YC with a few injuries. Lockie Street's back this week for the Stonecats.
Oh, rubbish.
Yeah, no,
You joking? You serious?
no, serious.
I'm
yeah.
going down to watch. I was
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
go watch more.
So,
I'm going down.
Why is he
Be-
playing for Richmond? They're not playing.
They're buy or something.
I don't know. I've just been told he's playing. So
Is that what you were keeping in your back pocket when you were talking to your
Is that right, is it?
yeah, so
Oh, kids, do
So,
yourself a favour.
Street-
Where will he play? Where will he play?
wherever he wants.
On the ball.
But where's
He'll be
his
in
best
the-
He'll take
position?
Blake
He'll play
Lane's
midfield.
He'll play midfield.
Yeah, he'll take Blake Lane's
That's
spot.
all. Is he 6'3"?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he'd
no,
play
he's a
midfield.
midfielder.
He's a great
He's not a-
replacement for Blake, and with Goonan and Hutchison in really good form, chuck in Lockie Wallace. That's a pretty handy midfield.
Dramana have got Gertz and Quigley.
Yeah.
Going well.
Dramana
Marcus Arney
battled.
will get one of them. He was best on ground last
Dramana
week.
battled against YC earlier on in the year, and I just feel like YC have got it over Dramana for some reason, and with Streety coming back in, that'll be a huge lift for the side. We've had a few injuries, so YC for me.
I was absolutely going to take Dramana, and you know how much I love Streety as a player.
Oh yeah.
Now, if he was playing for Edithvale against YC this week, I'd take Edithvale. No,
Big in, isn't he? Huh?
Yeah.
oh mate, he's extreme. YC will win this now once I found that out. But yeah, I would have backed Dramana if Streety hadn't been
I thought
playing.
Dramana a massive chance at home, but you'd have to say YC.
I wish you had asked Holksy's tips first, and then I would have dropped the Streety bit.
I would have just caved in.
I'll get that next time when I know, and I'm getting to know you pretty well in your body language, when I know you've got some inside information that you're not revealing. Tom, who do you like in this game between Dramana and YC?
I think YC will probably win that, but I can see that being a very close game for sure.
Oh, would have been a red hotter.
Now, early in the year, it was another close one. We mentioned it earlier. Mount Eliza 11-21-87, Edithvale 13-8-86. What did you learn from that game?
Probably what Hulk said before is that you have to go in with a similar mindset every week, Dan. They're a really good opposition, and probably just have to bring your A game every week, or you can get found out pretty quick.
And you like playing at home, obviously.
We do, yep.
We also found
Like
out
most
Regent
teams.
Park is a small ground.
Yes, yep.
Postage stamp size, and the crowd get pretty rowdy in one
They
pocket.
do. Yes, they do. Which pocket's that? Because we're calling there in a couple of weeks.
It's the club room side and what would you say? The Sorrento end.
Oh, right. I know which end. Not the Frankston city end, the other end.
Yeah, the southern end.
The southern end. I know where it is, yes.
The one closest to the bar.
They're a great crowd at Edithvale, but I reckon, especially the bigger ground. But Edithvale, they get themselves up every week. But I think Mount Eliza in a close one. Is that not being stating the obvious?
No, I reckon that's going to happen every week.
I think that's the way they play. I think if they play 4 quarters EDS, they can really take it up to Mount Eliza. It's been their issue, just going missing for 1 quarter. But they've been pretty good in the
They had
last
a great game last week. Their form's good. An upset wouldn't surprise me, but I don't think they will. I think Mount Eliza will win this.
Yep.
Yeah, me too. Pines and Red Hill, 2 injury-ravaged teams. It is, I'm going to say it, Hulks, an 8-point, even a 12-point game.
How can it be a 12-point
Pines are missing so many key players, but so are Red Hill. I think they're at home at Eric Bell Reserve. If it was up on the mountain, I'd go Red Hill. And, of course, they lost earlier in the season to Pines, and that'll be hurting them, and they still think that'd be a better side than Pines, but I'm going for Pines to win this at home.
This is a huge game. If Red Hill win this, they're safe.
Safe.
So Pines desperately need to win it also. Red Hill have got a couple of guys back, I think. They've had a horrible run with injuries, as have Pines, we were just talking about. I think Red Hill have got a bit too much class and experience for Pines. Irving's in good form and he's running that midfield for them. Siverson's back, played a pretty good game last week. Allsop's playing some pretty good footy. I'm going for Red Hill this week.
I think Dalmo was back last week. It stayed at Pines. He had a good game, another 28. I think
he's very important for them.
I think if Dalmo plays again, I think Pines can make this very, very interesting in the relegation race. And,
so you're going
beat
for
Red Hill. I think Pines will win that.
I think Pines at home. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, I haven't played Pines yet, as I said. Red Hill got us the first time, so I'll go with them.
Okay, good choice. Bombers and Rosebud, big game earlier in the year. Bombers were in trouble, but somehow found a way. They were about 5 goals down, almost 5 goals down, and got up against
Harnett
Rosebud.
had about 15 in the last quarter.
Huge last quarter.
Yeah.
They're going a bit better than Rosebud at the moment. I know Rosebud are young, and Nick Jules priding his team on the fact they're young and had 21 pointers in on the weekend. They've still got a few injuries, and for any time fitness, Bentley's still a couple of weeks away from returning. They hope Crummage might be back soon. If not, he'll play reserves this week, and he's such an important member of the side as part of their 2015 premiership side. Not too many of those guys left now. Stoffels played on the weekend, Keegan Downey and the Baker brothers. So there are a couple of injuries there. In regard to the Bombers, Brett Sutton, just a test on his calf, but he's a big part of that inside midfield brigade.
Dale,
He's one of the best in the
Brett?
comp. Sorry, Dale Sutton.
Dale.
Dale
So
Sutton.
Bombers have got one injury.
Yeah,
That's pretty
called,
scary.
It's called injury management, mate.
Yeah, they're doing a great job, and they're white hot at the moment.
Ooh.
Well, they were hit badly, weren't they, in 2018, 2019 with injuries?
Yeah. So they're having a great season. Their form over the last few weeks has been amazing. So Bombers for me.
Well, you're pumping them up.
I love the Bombers.
Yeah, Rosebud, really good to see Sean Downey back amongst the best last week. He's got that injury early on. He had a cracking first game. Did his hammy. Took him a while to get back. I don't know if he's still had some lingering things from that. But when he's up and about, Sean Downey's in the top 5 players in the comp by a mile.
He's still battling a bit to come back from.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
injury,
I think he has been, but I think he had a good game on the weekend, and it's good to see his brother Keegan back into the side and having a really good game. But it won't help him, I don't think, on the weekend. I think Bombers will win that fairly comfortably.
Bombers going well. I know you guys are third at the moment, Tom, but they're eyeing off the double chance, which will be a great battle in the next few weeks. Who do you like in this one between Bombers and Rosebud?
At Rosebud or?
It's at Bombers at Greg Beck Oval.
Yeah, we'll go with the Bombers then.
I reckon it'd be hard for you to tip every week because, everyone's got within 2 points of you.
Yeah, that's it.
They're all a good team.
How do you know who's better?
Right.
Or they give
But
us
how important for you guys? Every game is really important because that fight for double chance is huge.
It is, yep.
And drop a game that you shouldn't, and it might see you slip to 4th. Same with Bombers. Same with all 4 teams.
I would go whoever finishes in 4th won't win the flag out of that top 4.
It'll be a hard ask.
Yeah, because you're going to have to beat all of them going through.
Yeah.
And I don't reckon you can do it. I don't reckon you can beat 3 of those top 4 in 3 weeks in a row.
You wouldn't want to come against Bombers one week. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then YC in the big one. It'd be really hard.
Yep.
When we saw Bomb Beach win their first 2 finals in 2019, and they were flying, they were white hot, and Dramana Hogs were thrashed by Sorrento in the second semi.
That was
came out and beat them.
embarrassing.
Yeah, and then the grand final they won.
That was a masterclass coaching performance from
brilliant.
Ricky.
Yes. Now, Bomb Beach and Sorrento to complete the round. Do you think Bomb Beach far too strong for Sorrento, who will still be reeling after last week? But we know that their best is pretty good, Cappy, and they're getting a few players back, Sorrento. We mentioned Mitch Hallahan and how he's back.
Lee.
It's miraculous, but Leaper Hulke was pretty good last week.
Well, they do look heaps better with those guys in,
Yep.
of course. But Bomb Beach, as you say, Dan, their form's also incredible, and all their good players are playing well. And I can't see the Sharks getting over them. Oh, I can't see. They're both Sharks. I can't see. I can't see
the Sharks beating the other Sharks.
Yeah. Bomb Beach for me.
This is
Bomb Beach for me.
Obviously Sorrento had the coaching change a month or so ago and went through, and this is going to be a massive test for Lee and the coaching staff down there because you've had heartbreaking defeat, and then you've going into a patch where you still got a chance to get into that top 5. But you got Bomb Beach, Dramana, Bombers, and YC in the next 4 weeks.
Wow.
That is a huge challenge to keep that side motivated and up at that level to be able to try and compete, and then B, try and beat those 4 sides. So I don't think it'll start well, and I think Bomb Beach will win the game.
Yeah,
I'm
we'll
going
go
for Bomb Beach.
Bomb Beach, yep. They're white hot.
They
as
certainly
said.
are. Now, just before we go, we need to mention for the big game against EDS, which might also fire up Mount Eliza this week, Tom. And I know you're new to the club, but I think you know about the history there. Under-19s and reserves have dominated in recent times. The seniors have won 2 flags in 1998 and 2005. It's a past players event this Saturday at home at Emil Marsden Reserve, July 17th versus Edith Vale Aspendale. If you haven't already booked, get in quick to secure your spot. Always good to play in front of the past players. That'll
this?
inspire you, no doubt, Tom.
What's this? What's the graphic we've got up in the
This is the...
twos premiership?
No, the premiership.
2005 premiership.
It's a twos premiership.
No, they won 2005.
It's the graphic I've got up in front of me is the twos premiership. Spice is the captain. Spice was playing in the twos.
Right, okay. Well,
a good captain of mine used to always say to me, he goes, winning a twos flag, it's like, I'll clean it up. It's like dancing with your sister. Feels good at the time, but it doesn't.
Still
count.
a premiership, and there'll be a lot of players who've had a lot of success at
The
under
Mount Eliza
19
got
and
plenty of
reserves
twos
level.
flags.
Oh, no.
They've had a lot of
That's all.
Do you know much about their history before you joined the club, Tom?
Of Mount Eliza?
Yeah.
No, obviously, I was aware that they got a really strong junior club, and that filters into the 19s and the reserves. But hopefully, looking to get it done in the seniors sometime soon.
Well, you're certainly a massive chance. Tom Kelly has been our guest for Growth Syndicates Australia. We thank him very much. Thanks, Tom, for joining us.
No worries,
Well done,
guys.
Tommy.
Appreciate
Well done,
it.
Tommy.
Good luck for the
Well
rest
done,
of the year.
It's
And
one
of
of
course,
our favourites now.
He
Growth
is.
Syndicates Australia helping you create wealth by leveraging existing and available funds to build a substantial financial future. And they'll be a major sponsor for our second division match of the day this week. It should be an absolute beauty between Seaford and also Devon Meadows, 2 teams in contention to play in the finals. Anytime Fitness, which looks after our injury update. And again, thanks to all the coaches for making themselves available when I ring them up and drive them mad by providing all the injury updates and who's in and who's out. Every week for our footy show, so I really appreciate that. And this week's injury report is brought to you by Anytime Fitness. Anytime Fitness has gyms all throughout the peninsula and has everything you need to complete your rehab and get back on the park. And O'Brien's Real Estate, our major sponsor, with over 9 locations across the Mornington Peninsula. O'Brien Real Estate will be able to achieve the best price for your sale or rental, backed by a myriad of experience. Cappy, great to see you.
Thanks, mate.
Hogs, good to have you back in one piece, I think.
Yeah.
Even though you
Good to
drive
see me
me
as well.
mad. Yeah, good to see you as well.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Tom Harvey, for putting the show together along with Reese and Glenn Carter. Enjoy your footy this weekend, God willing, and we'll catch you again next week. Get your game.